sharing the best conservative talk with the world. This is CRN.
All right, everybody, we are live again. This is New Media Patriot Radio, the show about you, the concerned citizen, the silent majority, the politically incorrect, the social media patriot fighting every single day to restore American values and exceptionalism. You can follow us on Twitter at ThePatriot143 or at NMP Radio. It stands for New Media Patriot Radio. Also, visit our new website. That is newmediapatriotradio.com. We are actively looking for bloggers. If you are a political blogger and are looking for some exposure, please send us an email at newmediapatriot@gmail.com. Again, we are available on Spreaker and iTunes. You can listen to us live on Spreaker, and you can listen to us on the go via iTunes and Spreaker, or you can simply visit the new home of Conservative Talk Radio, which is conservativeradio.com. That is www.conservativeradionetwork.com. Again, it's ICRN, the new home of Conservative Talk. And I'm your host, Chris, and today's going to be a cool show. It's a pre-GOP debate show with none other than my favorite pal who's been on my show previously, but it's been a while. I believe it's been 25 shows since the last time he's been on my show. He was actually on my second show, and this is my 25th show, I believe. He is my favorite pal there on Twitter. I can't say favorite. I don't want to turn people off, my followers off, but he's one of my favorite pals, and his name is Dr.Scott. How are you, Doc?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, no problem. It's been a while since we've been able to chat.
It has, and you've been killing it out there.
Oh,
I've been busy at work and everything, and I've been following all your shows. I follow you on Twitter. You're definitely one of my favorite tweets. And, called you the other day and said it was time to do another show.
Yeah, here we are. We're here today. And, it's funny because it makes it easier for me to not have to remember names. I just call everybody Doc because it seems like every show I have a doctor. I have a doctor coming on. I had Dr. Lee, who was on my show, along with Cambry Nelson from California. She was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, she's the best.
Yeah, we had an awesome show there, and we spoke about a lot of things. We touched on Obamacare, and we spoke about Donald Trump's quote unquote single payer, which is not really a single payer system, but people like to say it is. But let's get right into it. What are you expecting? What kind of fireworks should we expect tonight at the GOP debate?
I'm kind of I see things kind of the way you do. I expect to see more of everybody attacking Donald Trump and trying to find some chink in his armor, trying to find something to get people to turn sour on him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
I just think Trump has that Teflon coating, sort of that same thing that Obama had back in 2008, where no matter what he does, he just comes out smelling like a rose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Even especially recently, Mitt Romney came out of the shadows all of a sudden, and he starts attacking Trump on his taxes. And I believe it was Trump back in the day that was defending him when they went after Mitt Romney's taxes, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's this. This campaign season has been politics as usual. And, I was naive enough to think that with all of these Republican debates, nationally televised, especially one that was going to be on Fox News, we could actually hear an articulate discussion about free market capitalism and constitutional republicanism and how those things are in danger and the consequences of, the Supreme Court justices that are going to be appointed. The issues arising with Common Core and Obamacare, and we got none of that. Instead of that, and we got more of the war on women and all of the personal attacks that have been going on. It's just really been a disappointing campaign season.
You got it. I mean, if you look back, I mean, I know it's every 4 years, but if you look back, we kind of like forget how dirty this whole process can be. And we just got to remember that this is a dirty process. Everybody's fighting dirty. Everybody's fighting not everybody's fighting to win, but a couple of guys are fighting to win, and they're fighting dirty, you know, and they, on all sides, they lie, you know, but you gotta love how refreshing it is to just hear. I look forward to in hearing, Trump's comebacks. Like, for instance, he came back at Mitt and he said Mitt Romney, who totally blew an election that should have been won and whose tax returns made him look like a fool, is now playing the tough guy. And this is what I look forward to. I look forward every morning to looking to look at Donald's tweets, because his comebacks are pretty awesome.
Well, I got to tell you something. I think that's part of Donald Trump's appeal to conservatives is, all through the Bush years, he was silent. The left was constantly attacking him and calling him a liar, and Bush lied and people died. And Bush had the bully pulpit and he never said anything. He had this attitude like, well, I'm above the fray and I'm not going to talk about it. But we conservatives never got an opportunity to get our message out, to have our message heard. And then Obama came along. It's been, absolutely his agenda all day, every day. And to hear Donald Trump take on Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton starts calling him a misogynist, and Donald Trump turns right back at her and says, your husband is a sexual predator and you're an enabler, and absolutely shut her down. It's hard not to love that.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because the other day, people were tweeting, Donald Trump, Hillary will mop the floor with Donald Trump. I go, excuse me. Do you recall back a couple of months ago when Hillary tried to attack him on being a misogynist, and he came back at her? Have you heard anything from her since?
Yeah, exactly.
He's the only one. And this is what frustrated to me, because I heard on the radio today that they were comparing Donald Trump to Mitt Romney. He's going to lose. I go, are you kidding me? I go,
ridiculous.
Mitt Romney was a puss when it came to going up against Obama. He didn't want to bring up the terrorist ties that he had or the racist preacher friend that he had, because they didn't want to seem like they were racist. So they play so tough during the primaries, but when it comes to the general, they cower down.
It's absolutely unbelievable, and it was painful to watch John McCain prostrate himself before that. I mean, these guys only have fight in them for other conservatives or true conservatives. Right. And then when it comes to fighting the liberals, they got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, let's talk about that word conservatism. I heard, I listen to a lot of talk radio, and I do listen to Levin, and I do Mark Levin, and I do listen to, believe it or not, Glenn Beck, because I like to see what they're saying, but I can only take them for a certain amount of time. Okay, so this big word about he's not. Everybody's debating whether he's conservatism or not, and I hadn't listened to Mark Levin in about a week, because every time I tune him in, and it's not because I don't want to hear anything negative said about Donald Trump, who I support. It's just that it's a constant platform of Trump bashing on that show, and I get nauseated. Talk about other things, and it's like, it seems like, and he's got to be talking about him all the time, because I flipped him on today to listen to him to see what he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about some issues. Boom, Trump. He was Trump bashing. So this is why I get so frustrated with the Glenn Becks and the Mark Levins. The fact that they still to this day do not understand why the people are frustrated. They're frustrated with this modern conservatism, which is nothing but globalism. It's not the conservatism that you and I grew up with under the Ronald Reagan era. It's the new globalistic conservatism, and that's why people are so frustrated, because we gave them both the House and the Senate, and they've done nothing, and people are fed up. And all these people that say, "Oh my God, they're so angry." Yeah, we're angry. Yes, we're angry. We're tired of it's a business as usual in Congress and the Senate. We're done with it. We're done with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's more than that too. Chris, as a physician, as a father of young children, I send my kids to private Christian school, and still the only thing they get is social justice and Common Core, and they, Daddy, do you know how long it takes for a plastic bag to disintegrate? There's just absolutely no pushback on anything in substance. The left has pushed this global warming fraud, to the absolute limit, and it's just an absolute joke that on something just so easy to argue against, the conservative movement or the conservative wing of the Republican Party, whatever, they're absolutely unwilling to fight against this stuff. And when I see them on TV, they're constantly hedging like, well, I want to give global warming a shout out, even though I'm not 100% for it. What are you talking about? Yeah. There's absolutely nothing out there to support global warming. The hottest times on record were before there was any fossil fuels being burned. I mean, we haven't had – the kids that have graduated in the last 2 graduating classes have global warming fraud pounded into their head every single day. And yet not a single one of them has seen a single year of global warming. It's just there's nothing that will happen. Every year we spend more money, more laws get passed, more lawlessness.
More regulations.
Occurs at the top.
More regulations.
This thing that's going on with Hillary Clinton and the emails, she broke the law. It's flat out. I mean, it's unequivocal. There's nothing to see here, and yet she's going to be the nominee for the Democrat Party. I mean, people are so numb to the corruption. You're watching Bernie Sanders here lose with coin flips and card flips.
Is that crazy?
And, I mean, all the super delegates continue to go to Hillary despite how Bernie does. It's like, is anybody else watching this? Yeah, this is utterly ridiculous.
Can you tell me how the Democrats are for the people and their voices, and how when they have 850 something super delegates that no matter who you vote for, it does not matter, because ultimately the super delegates are going to go with the establishment choice, and that would be Hillary Clinton?
It's unbelievable to me, and that's why I just I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be ugly, but I mean, to be a liberal, you literally have to be brain dead. I just don't see any of this stuff. I think one of the most devastating things to happen to us in the last, couple weeks was the loss of Justice Scalia. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think people realize, the people who listen to this show and follow us on Twitter and, in our group understand, but that is potentially the most consequential event of, the lives of people living today. Certainly my kids, you get one more liberal justice and that's it. They will have one after another liberal laws being passed, the Second Amendment being written out of the Constitution, the First Amendment, and we will have this globalization thing on steroids.
Isn't it crazy how it just came out that Scalia, more information is coming out post Scalia's death, that they actually found him with a disconnected CPAP machine, which is the machine you use when you snore or when you have sleep apnea, I believe. And that recently came out that it was unplugged. And this is what I'm telling you. Why did they treated this like it was just any other person? I think any other person would have got an investigation. Why weren't the full extent of the investigative branches of our government investigate that? I mean, I don't understand it. He was a SCOTUS. Why wasn't that investigated?
Here's the thing. I don't know if there was any foul play there. The circumstances, speaking as a physician, seem a little odd to me. There's no autopsy done. I mean, that just seems a little odd to me. I'm not going to get into whether or not some foul play took place, but what I do think is worth noting is I believe it could. Right. Things have gotten so bad in this country that I absolutely would not be shocked if foul play was involved in Justice Scalia's death. And
it's crazy.
I mean, my getting into this, this conservative fight has been, I went to Berkeley for undergrad, and I can remember being 20 years old and looking at we used to call them the liberals. Look at the liberals, and we'd laugh at them. And I didn't know that 30 years later they were going to be running everything. And anyway, my journey towards conservatism has been slow and steady, but it's been through direct observation. You see how the world works, you see how business works. And for me, this bringing up of Obamacare, socialized medicine, that's an absolute failure